Every year, everyone likes to make their top 10 best games of the year lists, and while that is fun, I do enjoy doing my list of underrated and underappreciated games that I started doing 2 years ago. To be on this list, the game may have been hit with harsh reviews, a lack of attention from the media or gamers, or just deserves another look. I wanted to use this list as a means to give some of these games another chance to shine. So let's get into the first one. This is hands down one of the best games on the PS4, and this deserves more attention. This was my first experience with the Fists of the North Star license, and I really want to watch the anime after playing this game. The game seemed to take the Yakuza format to gameplay and infuse it with the awesome over-the-top nature of this anime. The action is so violent and over-the-top that you can't help but smile while playing this. The gameplay consists of throwing you into arenas and where you need to battle several foes. You can then do these flashy moves and bloody moves that cause enemies to blow up. The amount of foes and visceral nature to the combat really is what makes this game awesome and creates an awesome power trip. The action isn't the only good thing about this game either. The world, story, and side quests are also all great. There are many side quests to complete, and they are worth doing as they provide these fun, small, self-contained stories, or you get a few that create these mini arcs that go on throughout the game. One of my favorite things to do in the game is to participate in the bartending minigame. It provides some of the best laughs.
Shining shot of death.
Spin, 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 spin. Perfect!
The game acts as a great entry point for newcomers of this universe. It does a solid job of getting you into the action and having you get into the story and enjoy it. I knew very little about this world before trying it, and I'm so glad that I did try and play it, and I want to revisit it because I ended up loving it. This game did receive a good reception from those that played it, but I think it's a good example of a game not getting much marketing and getting lost among all the other heavy releases that came out this fall. Do not let this one pass you by. Vampyr is an RPG that came out right before E3 this year, and I think that was particularly what hurt this game too. Vampyr is set during 1918 London, where you're a doctor who was recently turned into a vampire. The game does create some interesting situations with you being a doctor, and your duty is to then save lives, where at the same time you're a vampire, so you need to feed on humans to be able to survive yourself. Like many games on my list, they do have their flaws, and they also have some really interesting ideas with their premise. What I found really interesting about Vampyr is how it did a pretty good job at making you feel like a vampire, and what I mean by that is their need to be able to feed on other people, and how that can turn into an addiction. The game does this in how you can help people within the city. As you help them, the experience points they will provide if you choose to kill them will increase. When you do this for the first time, you get this nice rush while you're playing the game because you're able to level up several times because of all those experience points, and you're gonna want to do it again. So you start feeling that want to be able to do it again, just like how a vampire is going to want to feed again. This also creates a relatable conflict where the player may give in to their temptation and kill many of the NPCs or choose to resist it. This will also result in affecting the districts you choose to kill people in. I really liked how your actions had a tangible effect on the world. People may even react to you killing someone they knew. It is these small details that really make this place feel alive. Talking and interacting with the citizens of the city is really one of the best aspects of the game. Solving their issues and getting to know them on a more personal level is also where the story succeeds. There is plenty of combat within the game, and I generally enjoyed it. I do think that this is an area that could be improved for a sequel with better boss fights, tighter controls, and more options. The visuals and music do an excellent job at capturing your attention. It's downright intoxicating sometimes when you're just walking throughout the streets. Vampyr is a game that anyone who enjoys RPGs should really check out. Darksiders is a series that I love and respect. The second game is one of my favorite games of all time. I love the combat, the world, the main character, and the excellent exploration and music. When THQ went under, I thought we would never see the Darksiders again. Now having Darksiders 3, I see this as a small miracle. This sequel is significantly scaled back compared to the prior games, and it does need work within its performance area. But it's still a good action-adventure title, and I'm happy to see this series back. The new character Fury fights mainly with her whip, and it's great to control this because it will swing around the battlefield, hitting opponents that you don't even mean to hit. It feels quick and deadly. The other secondary weapons are fun as well. The boss fights are the highlight of the combat encounters, as each of the boss fights have something different and unique that are memorable about them. Sometimes the fight will change in the middle, adding another element to the fight, or ones will take a bit more of a narrative approach to them. Either way, these fights are memorable, and they will net you with new weapons and abilities to be able to help you move throughout the environment. These new items will help open up previously closed off areas, making the world that feels kind of small at the beginning gradually feel bigger and more interconnected as you progress. I do think it was a mistake to release this game at the end of November with all the other big titles already out. I would have released Darksiders in a better window so it could receive more attention. I hope the game sells well enough to warrant a sequel, as I would like to see the story completed. It's great to see this series back, and now I want to go back and play the previous games again. I, like many others, enjoy a good dungeon crawler. I love the loop of defeating enemies and grinding out new loot for my characters. Shadows Awakening is a new action RPG that came out at the beginning of the fall. This is a lengthy single-player game where the player controls one character but can switch to a variety of them on the fly. The big difference you'll notice right away are your characters within the mortal realm and demon realm. These two work in conjunction with each other. In one world, you may notice that the bridge is out, but then switch to the demon realm and be able to see the path that you need to take. Along with this, puzzles are something you'll be encountering throughout this adventure, and you'll need to switch up your characters to be able to solve them. The story and world are pretty interesting, giving you some good purpose to the action. The variety of characters you get to control helps to keep the combat fresh and fun. You may find yourself building different characters for specific purposes. I used one character specifically for his traps and focused on my mage as my main character. It will all depend on how you want to play. Boss fights can get a bit more involved than your typical action RPG, and they are appreciated here. This is a quality hidden gem that is most definitely worth checking out. I'm probably going to get some crap for including this game on my list, but I really felt like it fit within my video. There were many people that jumped on the hate train for this game without really giving it a chance to see if they would actually like it or not like it. They just assumed, like other big YouTubers covering the game, they claimed what players experienced for the first few hours of the game represented the entire experience, which also made me question their integrity. For anyone who has played the game, they will continually see the inaccuracies presented in these reviews, which is partly why I took my time with the title and tried to give it an honest shot because of all the misrepresentation. Now, I have no problem if this game isn't your cup of tea and you have no interest in playing it. That's completely fine. But there seems to be a niche group of people who did try it and ended up really enjoying it. I, for one, enjoyed the game. The story was messy, crazy, and very entertaining, but the gameplay is really what kept me engaged. I like how it didn't hold your hand and treated you like an adult. Surviving was engaging because of how the game rewarded you for being prepared for situations, along with providing avenues for risk and reward gameplay, and when accomplished, it created a great sense of satisfaction. Combat provided a good amount of options with melee options, traps, and loads of guns. The game continually provides new rewards as you progress. New armor sets, along with weapons and traps, become continually doled out to the player. Exploring factored into this sense of satisfaction, as you will always need some type of supply or material to be able to better your equipment. So being able to explore in dust with all the fog was definitely really interesting. Upon completing the main game, you're rewarded with more items to use, like deployable turrets, along with optional boss fights and a load of co-op options. I completely understand this game not being for everyone, The survival mechanics of the game definitely puts it into a niche space, but if you're interested, give it a try. I am a fan of the new Tomb Raider games. I never played Tomb Raider from the PS1 era. My first real experience with the games and character from the Tomb Raider Legend game back on the 360. I enjoyed the mix between treasure hunting, action, and adventure. It had a nice flow of action, puzzles, and platforming along with a good story. I welcome the new reboot as I was interested to see where they would take the character. The new games are not without their flaws, but I did enjoy how they made Lara vulnerable and relatable. She always seemed in control in the older games, and she had a confidence about her, which fit for those stories, and I like seeing her grow throughout these games, be able to see her as someone who faces her challenges and succeeds. The 2013 reboot was a roller coaster of a game that never let up, and is one that I continually come back to because of how concise and awesome it is. I did like how Rise of the Tomb Raider seemed to be able to hit a better balance between action and puzzle solving than the prior game, which really just focused on a lot of combat. Shadow of the Tomb Raider really wanted to go back to those classical Tomb Raider elements with puzzle solving and exploring taking a higher focus than the action sequences. I felt like they succeeded, and it appropriately fits considering this is supposed to be the ending to the Origin trilogy. With the main missions and side activities both containing many different tombs and crypts to explore and conquer, there's a lot of joy that you get from being able to explore these places and seeing some of the best moments they have to offer. We see Lara in a position of focusing too much on her mission and sometimes forgetting how her actions can affect others. We see how she cares about people within some of the side missions that brings out a more gentler side to her. She makes mistakes and tries to learn from them, and I find that relatable. When the action does kick in, they consist of memorable set pieces that sometimes have some solid emotional weight to them. While Shadow of the Tomb Raider did receive some solid reception, it also felt like people didn't give this game enough credit, or it got lost releasing so close to the successful Spider-Man game. I love this trilogy and I recommend this one as well. I'm a big fan of arcade racers. I'm not a fan of realistic racing games, as I feel like that's something that I can just do in real life. I drive a car to and from work every day, but what I can't do is participate in high-octane car chases without any horrible life consequences, which is why I prefer the type of racing game fantasy to play. Onrush is a game that wanted to tap into the arcade racer genre and helped to reinvigorate it. While the game is fun to play, it sadly didn't get the attention it deserved. I was excited to see that these guys from Evolution Studios were making a new game. The 4 modes, Countdown, Lockdown, Switch, and Overdrive, brought a really fun team-based variety to the gameplay. Since the modes were team-based, I like the fact that you were always working towards helping a group and not just yourself. The visuals were solid and the sense of speed was satisfying. The game did lack split-screen options and ranked options at launch, but thankfully it got updated to include ranked modes. I would recommend this one for fans of arcade racers and anyone looking for some fun online co-op. Strange Brigade comes from the studio that made the very fun Sniper Elite series. Strange Brigade was a co-op focused third-person shooter set in an old treasure hunting style setting. It's charming and a lot of fun. It was released on the eve of many big fall releases, and I think that's where it got lost and really didn't get a chance to shine. You spend most of your time shooting all manner of classical monsters. There's a decent variety of guns and items to be able to use and mix and match your experience. You have a main campaign, horde mode, and a score attack mode to enjoy. The shooting is really enjoyable, especially when you find one of the special guns like the flamethrower and enjoy the power it gives you. While the single player is an option within the game, it is just better suited to play this in co-op. The levels themselves contain a bunch of hidden goodies to grab. This means you'll want to explore the linear levels and keep an eye out for any puzzles that will give you rewards. The game mostly commits to its cheesy tone with a narrator who likes to comment on everything. While this can grow old at times, some of his lines are really well timed. This is best played in co-op and worth playing. Now, A Way Out did receive some good reception, but I do feel like it was another one of those games that was quickly forgotten. I thoroughly had a great time with this game. I enjoyed the characters, their journey, and the story. I found it very entertaining the whole time. It was like being in a Telltale-like adventure, but you had to play it with a friend. The game had many different little mini encounters that you had to solve with your friend, which was really good because when you succeeded in those encounters, they felt like small victories, which really kept the pacing great throughout. I really enjoyed the camera work that was done within the cutscenes. The most memorable of these was the excellent hospital escape sequence that had the chase seem like a seamless one take where both players would exchange controlling the action. This was really memorable. The music was another highlight with a great soundtrack that stayed with me. I really like the idea of having a 7-hour story that was sold for $30 instead of the usual $60. I would love to see this turned into a trend with more story-based games made and released at this price. Either way, I really enjoyed it. So that was my list for underrated and underappreciated games of 2018. Let me know if you agreed or disagreed with me, and maybe some games that you felt were underrated that I didn't mention here. Thank you very much for watching.